Hey up YouTube. So part of my fishing journey, obviously, as I've discussed many times on YouTube and on Facebook, I tie my own rigs, or I learn how to tie my own rigs, or try to tie my own rigs, whatever you want to say. So I'm going to quickly build one, maybe two, of very standard rigs that anybody should be able to tie, provided you can do a couple of simple knots. So I'll see you in a sec. Right, so the rig we're going to look at today is the pulley dropper. I may also quickly, because I need to tie some new pennels, not pulley pennel, yeah, pulley pennels. But the main rig I've been using on Bonkers Bank, the Bench, Bucks Beck, it's known by many names in the last few videos, has been the dropper, and it's had varying success for me. Obviously the one time I didn't film, I caught no fish, but that's by the by. The one complaint I've had about the pulley droppers that I've been using is that baiting them up and getting them ready to send has been a chore. It's been slow, it's been tricky. So as I've retired those rigs and I'm retying them today, I'm going to try tying them with some of these, some Roto bait clips from Trident Tackle. Hopefully that was in shot. I've been using these for a while, and out of the hundreds of casts I've done with them, I think I've had 2 or 3 failures, which have largely been my fault for not maintaining these or not cleaning them out in between sessions, or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to say. Really, it's been user error. It's not been down to the pulley. There he goes, throwing it on the floor. So, and I'm using those over what I have been using, which what I've been tying them with up to date is the pulley the proper pulley from Gemini, or the pulley from Gemini, and imps and dear me, I'm all finger and thumbs today. And the standard imps, and it's worked great. It really has worked great. And if you've got a couple of them tied and you can keep them in rotation so that you're baiting one up before you send it and you've got it hanging, that's great. That's not a problem. However, I still find it fiddly getting it ready to throw out. Baiting it up's easy enough, but then when you've got to clip it all together, it's fiddly. So I've already tied one to see if using the captive bait holder, the roto clip, makes it any better. And it does. It really does. Makes it so much easier. I'm also using the Trident Thermalinks, and I will also be using the Trident pulley, which is this here. Takes its inspiration from a proper block and tackle instead of just being a pulley bead. They're a bit big and chunky, but I get on with them. I think they're great. So that's what we're going to be using. Let's get on with how I'm tying it. Now, this rig does take its inspiration from Fish Locker John's pulley dropper. In fact, it's almost a carbon copy with the variation of the Trident. I'm not, I'm not a rig inventor, but this is my version of it and what I've been using. So my rig body, I'm going to use some ASSO Ultraflex. I've only got some 80 in, but that's fine. It's still quite a fine enough diameter at 0.8 millimeters, so it's perfectly fine. For my hook snood, once again, I'm using what I've got, and I've got some 30 Amnesia. Perfectly fine once again. And to be perfectly honest, I am tying these rigs to target larger smooth hounds and things like that, so the extra bit of strength there is quite important. I'm going to be putting some Specimen Extra Cox and Roll hooks on, size 2.0 and 1.0. The key to this rig is the Gemini bent bait clip. I'll show you the packet actually instead of the clip. the Gemini bent bait clip, and all it is the eye of the bait clip is off to one side and turned through 90 degrees. Simples. You do need, or at least in my experience, it helps to use some squishy beads, some soft beads. I only have these are quite large really, bit big for the purposes, and they're loomy beads, but it's all I've got in squishy beads at the moment. In fact, hang on, I'm going to go check something. Mick very kindly gave me some moon glow while I was up there. I'm not sure if there's any beads in there or if they're all bait stops. Give me a sec, I'm just going to go check that. Right, sorry, I just wanted to check. Give me a box of these moon glow that are really bright attractors and bait stops and things, but none of them appear to be actual beads. None of them are pierced, so I'm not going to fight with those. I'm just going to use what I've been using, but they look really cool. They'll be good for next year's flatty season. Right, let's tie. Let's hope this video doesn't corrupt. So, Ass Ultra Fix £80. I'm going to use the extremely scientific method of fingertip to nose. Clip it off. And the first component on is a power swivel. It could be an £80 mainline swivel. It doesn't necessarily need to be a power swivel, it's just what I've got here. And we're going to tie this. Sorry, let me see if I can keep you in shot. We're going to tie this with a uni knot. So up, over, and then my knot's at the neatest. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't pull that tight before any of you start cringing. I always have a weight to hand when I'm tying up rigs. Cinch it down. Make sure it's nice and tight. Nice little knot. Clip off the tag end. No need to clip it off too short, it's not going to interfere with anything. And then your components go on thusly. Squishy bead. Pulley. So like I say, in this case, if you've not seen one of these, the Trident pulley, it's got 2 holes in it. You come through the big hole, then round and through the hole at the top, and then back through the bottom hole, back through the big hole. And it just creates a, once again, not sure if it's going to show up on camera, but it creates a sort of, if you imagine a loop, really. And then that can slide down. Next component, the Genie bent clip. Now, you have to remember that this end, where you've already tied that, you need to have, how do I explain it? This end with nothing on, is where your hooks, where your lead's going to be. This end is where your main line's going to be. Okay. Now these Gemini bent, obviously, if you put them on the wrong way around, so you want the loop pointing away from the where the hooks are going to clip down into, where the weight's going to be, so that it's sliding down that way. It's really difficult to try and show. Okay, hopefully you're getting a decent enough shot there. Let that go down, and then another squishy. And these beads, the sole reason for them is to just protect your knots. That's all. just to protect your knots. And then on the bottom end, I will tie a termalink. Once again, uni knot it. Nice simple knot this. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. And all I'm doing there is just sort of not cinching it down, but making the knot so it holds itself. Lubricate my line, grab my lead. Cinch down. Clip off the tag. Once again, doesn't need to be too tight in. And then what you will do in fact, well, yeah, I'll show you it on there for now, but normally this wouldn't be clipped on to here. I'd clip it onto the lead. But that's the body, okay? Real simple. There's a lot of components to it, but there's no expensive components. The other reason I like this Trident stuff is it's cheap. It is very cheap for what it is. Hook length, real simple basic hook length. You want your hook length to be shorter than your rig body. Now we did arm's length to nose for the rig body, so all I'm going to do is to factor in the knots. I'm just going to do arm's length, losing about ½ foot. Okay, now the one thing actually I forgot to get out, the one thing I forgot to mention, the other piece of tackle you need is a snooze swivel. Give me a sec while I find them. I haven't found a better option for swivel other than Gemini. I know everybody has their preferences, but Gemini swivels are mine. Okay, I'm going to tie this on first. Once again, uni knot, because it's a finer line, up 5 or 6 turns this time. So, what am I doing here? There we go. Sorry, it's really difficult to hold. I'm not the greatest knot tyer, so to hold it up and in shot and tie the knot is difficult, to say the least. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to struggle to get 6, so I'm just going to go with 5. Pull it so it holds itself. Lubricate the line. Grab my lead. I think the eyes of the swivels will just go on. Yeah. Cinch it down. The one thing I have found with the uni knot is it is important to hold the tag end as you're cinching the knot down. Otherwise the knot tends to go over on itself a little bit. And then hooks. So the 2/0 will be my end hook, the 1/0 will be my pennel. And of course, if you use the terribly scientific measuring method, then you can tie multiple of these so that they all are the same, and you can have them ready, baited up, and you just unclip the swivel from the Gemini bent rig clip, which you'll see that in a sec. You unclip the swivel from there and clip on a new hook length. No messing about with leads, no having multiple leads on the go, which reduces down your amount which reduces down the amount of lead you need to carry in your tackle box, reducing down your weight. So, unless like, you know, you want to take extra leads in case. Same on the hooks as everywhere else, a uni knot. Don't be shy with the wraps on the uni knot. Once again, 5 or 6 on a smaller diameter line. 3, 4. Ow! I just hooked my groin. Nice. See if I can squeeze 6. No, it's not going to squeeze 6. Luckily it's just in my jeans, but I did set the hook in there. 1 second. Gotcha. To burn that fibre back in. There we go. Right. Hook into lead. Hook meet lead. There we go. These Cox and Roll Fisherman X's are really sharp hooks. I have found though, once the coating comes off them, they rust out pretty quick. Clip it off and there's your hook length. And the hook length is about half, in this instance, about half the length of the rig body. But as long as it's shorter than the rig body, the rig will work. So I'll give you a quick rundown of the rig and we'll end the video. And hope it hasn't corrupted. So, as I said, hook length goes on to the Gemini bent rig clip. Yeah. And the reason, it's very difficult for me to demo this, so I do apologise. But the reason I wanted to go for a captive hook holder is when you're trying to hold this in an imp or an impact lead, it's difficult. So with this, you can not hook yourself again. You've got your hook, your bottom hook ain't going anywhere, whilst, you know, your imp can slide around all over the place. Not your imp, your swivel. Not even your swivel. Your rig clip can slide around all over the place, but your hook isn't going anywhere. The hook is captive. And then to bait this, to have this ready to cast, you slide the top power swivel. Sasha, no, that's a hook sweet tap. You hook your top power swivel onto the rig clip, and then once that hits the water, it'll drop everything out in front of the lead. That's the idea. And baiting that up, in theory, should be a lot easier. Your main line, of course, being connected to your pulley. Then what happens, that releases when it hits the water, and then the theory is that it drops your bait way out in front of your lead that's right on the other end, giving you a nice long trace length for those shy biters. Now, this rig, the main reason I'm using it on the beach I'm using it on is it's a long sloping beach, which means that you have to hit a little bit of distance to get into deep water. Being a new fisherman, I need all the help I can do to reach that little bit of distance. And a clip down rig, as all you experienced anglers will know, helps massively to obtain that distance, because it's all nice and streamlined. So that's why I've gone with this rig. My alterations to it being the roto bait clip. You can tie it any length you want, from 1 foot in total length to 3 foot in total length. I did tie one that was considerably longer originally. I think it came out at about 4 foot once it was clipped down. The one problem with that, I found on the beaches I tried it on was the trace would tangle up all over the place. The hook length would tangle up all over the place. It was too long. So I go with about an overall length of about 2.5 to 3 feet now. And I find that a good casting length and a good trace length. The other rig I'm going to be using is very, very similar. And it's just the pulley pennel. Just the good old standard pulley pennel that every winter fisherman knows and does and uses, which is almost identical to the pulley dropper, apart from you don't have the dropper section. So you've got your hooks way out here, and I have already done a video on this, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. And then that would go down to your impact lead. So you pulley back up here, then you've got your 2 lines there, your main body and your rig body and your trace, and they would go down to your hooks and lead on the bottom end. They all clip together and you can wang that out. The benefit of that one is if you're over slightly rough ground, when you're reeling it in, especially when you've got a fish on, it will lift your lead, keeping it off rough ground. Like I said, I have already done a video on that, so I'm not going to go over it. But that's the other rig that's worth considering if you're after that sort of thing. That's going to be it from me today. Just a quick one, I hope. And I hope to see you out on the beach on Sunday. I'm hoping actually there's quite a few of us going. It'd be lovely to have a bit of a gathering down there. I think I've got 3 or 4 people, including myself, confirmed at the moment. If you are in the area and you fancy coming and having a fish, we are going to Bonkers Bank. My intention is to meet at the Meridian car park for about, it's an 8 p.m. tide, high tide. So my plan is to meet at around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the Meridian car park. That's the little car park all the way down at the bottom end of Meridian Road, which is a little road just at the side of Meridian Showground. If you've got me on Facebook, the Facebook link is below in the video description, or it's on the About Me page. If you've got me on Facebook, you don't know how to get there, I will be signed into my One Man and His Rod Facebook page on the day, so you'll be able to get hold of me on there and get directions if you're lost. But yeah, it's as simple as that. Simple rigs. It's not a rough ground rig. You could put a rotten bottom on it if you wanted, but where I'm fishing is not rough ground at all. Job done. Don't forget, like, share and subscribe. I'll see you later.